just got done watching Ahsoka episode 4, and of course this is going to be my spoiler review. This is the midpoint of the season, and usually with a lot of these Star Wars Marvel series, when we get to the midpoint of the season, I usually start to feel a little bit disappointed. I usually start to go like, okay, I don't know where they're going with this. Not this show. Maybe there's some biasness in there, because if you haven't followed any of my other reviews or my channel before, Ahsoka is personally my favorite Star Wars character. I absolutely love her. I love Star Wars Rebels. I love Star Wars The Clone Wars. And man, this episode ended exactly by the point, in midpoint through this episode, I was like, they're probably going to end it on that part. And again, like I said, this was spoilers. So hit that like and subscribe button. Come back if you haven't watched the episode yet, and make sure to leave your thoughts. But hello, Snips. The second I heard that line, getting to see Hayden Christensen show up behind Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka, and getting to see that, the fact that we've never seen Anakin in live action with Ahsoka, and I think it's like a perfect parallel that we have, of course, to Ashley, and I cannot remember the original voice actor for Anakin in the cartoon, but them getting to pair off, and now having Hayden Christensen and Rosario Dawson get to have this moment together as Anakin Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano. Next week's episode cannot come soon enough. Just saying enough, like, I filmed a reaction to this, and I almost didn't film a reaction because sometimes reactions do hit or miss on my secondary channel, but that was so perfect. That is the reason I film reactions and trailer reactions and things like that, is to get glimpses like that, and to see Anakin Skywalker once again. And I know we got to see him a little bit in Obi-Wan Kenobi, but this was just different. This just hit different. The prequels were my era that I grew up with of course, Star Wars. And I know they're a mess, but God, man, what a perfect moment that was, and a perfect way to cap off this episode. Because at first I thought, is she in a world between worlds? But then he's like, I didn't expect to see you here so soon. And it's like, is that where they go after they die? I have no idea. I think they're going to explain that. I heard episode 5 for Ahsoka was the one to look out for, and it seems like that is what we are getting. But I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Thank you so much again, guys, for clicking on this. Let's definitely dive into this episode, because Ahsoka just keeps continuing to get better and better. The lightsaber fights, the character development. This is an all-killer, no-filler show, and as of right now, if this continues, if the next 4 episodes are just as good as the previous 4, or even better, this for me will be the best Star Wars show that we have gotten since Clone Wars or Rebels. I love The Mandalorian. Season 3 I was a little bit disappointed in. I thought Andor was absolutely incredible in the writing department. Not all of Andor, of course, when I look at it at a superficial level, works for me. Maybe that's just because I'm not huge on Rogue One. And Book of Boba Fett, we're not even going to talk about. Very disappointing. Kenobi, kind of the same way. Very much fizzled out at the end. Ahsoka's just kind of been everything that I've wanted to be. Very samurai-esque vibes into this, and you very much see all the reference to that. And of course, I have to reference Kevin Kiner's score. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love what Ludwig did with Mando and Boba Fett. I thought that was such a perfect score for the Mandalorian themes and all that. But there's something about Ahsoka's that just Kevin Kiner is cooking. He cooked with Clone Wars, he cooked with Rebels, he even cooked with Bad Batch, and he absolutely is straight firing on all cylinders. I've always said that Kevin Kiner for me, and I really hope he is the composer for Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie, because I think he deserves it. The way that he takes essences of John Williams and infuses that score into a perfect harmony. He always makes all of his Star Wars score feel so closely tied to the original trilogy, to the prequel trilogy, to even the sequel trilogy. And whether that's a pro or con to you, we can always admit that the score has always been phenomenal for that. So I always have to give a massive shout out to that. And I love how Kiner always harkens back to what John Williams did, but always makes sure to give us that essence above it all. And again, just this episode blew my mind. I love how it ends up with them being hunted down through this forest. I love that Hera betrays them and says, always a rebel. And of course, we get our favorite commander from the Mando. I love seeing him there in the X-Wing. I loved him also from Kim's Convenience. But they show up. But it really is an episode that focuses in on Padawans and their masters. And I like how this is kind of like a perfect tee-off to, of course, the next episode, which will very much focus on our main character and her master. And I was about to complain that they're like, oh, they're going to end this episode with us not knowing if Ahsoka lived or died, where we know she probably lived because it's called Ahsoka, but the way that you kind of left off, the way that you started off this episode, and you very much have it be very action heavy with Hu Yang throwing out some punches to these other droids, and then Ahsoka and Sabine coming out, going through them, and then having to fight off Marok, and I can't even remember the other girl's name, but she's pretty badass. And all of us theory heads can go away. That wasn't Ezra Bridger, nor was it Galen Starkiller. We can throw that all away. That was a trash theory, I guess, that we were all wrong on, because he died. It was kind of weird, though. He's like hissed and like kind of like just disappeared. Like if you ever watch Naruto Shippuden when they do like a genjutsu or something, they just go poof. That's kind of what happened there. But Ahsoka defeats them. Sabine's holding her own, which Sabine was awesome in this. I love that. But it really comes down to Lord Balin versus Ahsoka. And something I really much notice in here, and I think we see it a little bit in the cartoons, but we truly never see it in live action, I think, is seeing Jedi do different stances. The newest Jedi Fallen Order game, Jedi Survivor. No, it's called Jedi Fallen Order. I can't remember. Too many Star Wars things, too many different Jedi things. The different stances you can do in there were always fascinated to me. And getting to see Ahsoka kind of use the dual wield and then kind of switch to like the heavy, and the way that she is using that, it's very, again, samurai-esque, because that's what samurais do. And seeing her take down Lord Balin and fight him into this was fantastic to see all the different moves that we've learned Ahsoka do, but in live action. And Ray Stevenson is absolutely so menacing that he just builds off this essence of something that gave me the same feeling of when I saw Darth Maul for the first time in Phantom Menace. But instead, Ray Stevenson talks, and I love that. And I like how it's kind of a parallel to that in a lot of different ways. And Ahsoka is the one who very much was tied to Darth Maul by the end of the Clone Wars with her dual fates. And for me, getting to see how all of this ties together, it's like Dave Filoni is always so smart with its parallels and themes, and I think you really much see all that, specifically if you're a diehard Star Wars fan. But if you're just a casual fan watching this, it's so exciting because the lightsaber duels are epic. The score is gratifying. You know, I truly feel out inside live action, we have not gotten lightsaber duels like this in a long time. This includes the sequel trilogy. I would go as far back, we haven't gotten this great of lightsaber duels since the prequels. And that's really sad to say because Star Wars is a big part of lightsaber duels, but I love seeing this all, and I like that Ahsoka got the map off, and you feel that hopefulness, and then she gets shoved off the cliff, and Sabine gives in to her dark feelings, which we knew she was probably going to. I feel like the fan base is going to be pretty pissed on that. I understand where she's coming from. She wants to find Ezra Bridger. We know she's going to find Ezra, but that's where it leads us to. Hera luckily survived with Jason. The hyperdrive went off. We leave our heroes in a desperate state. But where it literally leaves us off to. Sabine gone with Lord Balin and all of them to go find Thrawn and Ezra. And Balin was smart using Ezra as that. But then we get to that ending that I flipped out about. Which is Anakin. Saying hello, Snips. And I think we all knew Anakin was going to show up in here. Force Ghost or not. But the usage... And whatever this place, again, it really looks like I think it's called the World Between Worlds, that whole thing that Ezra went into within Star Wars Rebels that saved Ahsoka. But maybe it's a different theme than that. Maybe it's a different thing that we're going to learn about the Force, that Dave Filoni is going to develop and give to us. My jaw dropped. I didn't think we were seeing him this early. So that's incredible. And I can't wait to see next week's episode. Oh my god, next week's episode is going to be freaking incredible. I can't wait. I'm star-studded. Again, if you can't tell, I literally just got done watching the episode. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Comment down below your guys' thoughts. I cannot wait to hear your guys' reaction to this episode. What a phenomenal one that is. And of course, guys, leave your thoughts. Go check out my reaction. It'll be up on a couple hours. It'll be over my Zach Pope Expanded channel. You guys can find that down below in the description. But of course, until next time, may the Force be with us all.